Hey everyone, so in this video I'm just going to give you guys a general overview of what is where when it comes to the Create Studio program. So there's so much you can do with this program, and I think that one of the most important things you can really have under your belt before you get creating is to just have an understanding of what you can do. You know, if you can go into your project and have a clear plan of what you want to design and create, then that's how you're going to save the most amount of time and be the most efficient in creating your video ads or your lessons or whatever your use may be. So just to start it off, I'm just going to create a new project. I call it new project 3. I'm going to give it 1080 HD. I'm going to create project now. So on this screen, I'm going to explain to you guys some of the elements. Down below here, this is where all of the different layers are going to go. So if I add text, boom, now I have this layer. And what's really cool is that they actually update this bottom part right here to say whatever your text is. So blah, blah, blah. Now it's blah, blah, blah. That's really helpful when you have multiple text elements coming in at different times. It's a really great way to keep track of them. So I really appreciate that that's something they've done. Okay, so that also shows you that there's the text option right here. Another option up here is shapes. So let's just do for fun, let's see which one's cool. I like this guy right here. Okay, so now we have this guy. Over here, the settings instantly pop up for some things that I can do with him. I can make him big, small, whatever. And this is like a vector image, which means no matter how close up into the pixels you get, it's never going to pixelate. That means that regardless of if you're creating a billboard for the freeway or you're creating a Facebook ad, it's going to be high quality. And that's really important when you're trying to make quality, professional looking content while on a budget. Okay, so back to the details on this. So when you click on the element that you've created, this little happy face, I'm going to make him yellow because that's kind of classic. That's a gross yellow. Okay, I'm happy with that. Right below here, this is going to be the transparency. So if I have another element behind this and I wanted to show through more, it's not that this is getting like less bright or something. This isn't a brightness bar. What this is actually the background coming through. So if I were to make the background right here, instead of black, make it red. Let's have some more contrast. Let's do blue. So we have this background going on, right? I'm going to go back to my smiley face and look at the color again. And this is it fully opaque, right? And then we bring this on over and it becomes more and more see-through. And then it's gone. So this is really nice to have if you're creating logos or creating multiple elements and you're having them stacked. This is going to add some extra definition as well as really give you that like 2D or 3D effect that you're looking for. So I'm just going to set this to full. Oh, another thing I like here is the fill type. You can make an automatic gradient into this and you can choose which direction it's coming from. I mean, this is something I wish Canva had for photos. So I can make his face go like this, and I can make this second color. Let's do something fun. How about a, that's not going to show up as well. Do turquoise. Do red. Let's do pink. Okay, cool. So now we got our weird looking dude here. And give him. There we go. Now he's embarrassed. That's kind of cute. Okay, now we have our embarrassed guy. Maybe let's make this red. Okay. That's kind of funny. So we have this. We went over the transparency option, which is also available here. We have the scale, which is the sizing. And you can lock this down if you want. But, you know, and there's also extra detail here. So scale X. Going one direction, so that's going to be your width, and then scale Y is of course going to be your height. So we have our goofy dude here. Should we turn him upside down and have him slightly tilted? Maybe we'll make him laugh in a little bit. Okay. Let's lock this all up. Okay, let's now go over to, oh, before I switch to motion, let's talk about this top bar right here. So this piece is really cool because if you're creating text or if you're trying to put your logo and have it look professional, it's really important that you have it formatted correctly. And what these options up here are basically something that allows you to go ahead and choose like centering an item. So I'm gonna choose to center this face. He's already in the center, so let me put him to the side. Okay, so it centers him, or it'll put him here, here. We got a top, middle. So if I wanted him middle and center, I could click this button and this button, and then I know that he's perfectly centered in the middle of the page. And then this is bottom, of course. So let's put him back in the center. Now let's go over to motion. So motion, we have a couple of options here, and we'll have more options down over here. On this side is really helpful because it's the in and outs. So how you want this face to transition into the page. Do you want it to bounce in? Do you want it to swirl in? Do you want it to zoom? Or do you want it to already be on the page automatically and you only want it to have a function to go off the page? Let's say you're having text come through, and so you would have a paragraph written here, and then it zooms out or it swooshes out, and then you have another text come in. So you could do that, but let's just try out some of these. What I like is that up here's a little preview window. So slide right, it'll show you with the Create Studio logo, which is helpful. Let's see if there's a bounce. Or distort. Distort might be fun. Let's do this. Distort. So see how when I'm clicking it, it's not making this animation attached to this face. I actually have to click this button, this little blue box right here, and check it. So let's check it. Now it's appearing right here. And I can make it go for longer or shorter, whatever I want to do. There's also some more details that I can adjust in here if I just do a right click. And then you can go animation settings and adjust more things. So let's take a look at what this would actually look like. So that's him going out. So let's maybe put one of him going in as well. Another distort. Let's have him, oh, here's a bounce distort. Let's do that. And that's how he's going to come in. So let's look at how that looks. So we have that, then he's here, and then he, boop. There we go. So that's some basic editing right there. Again, you can edit these further by just hitting right click. You can also delete them. So what I'm going to do now is show you a couple more animation features we can add on here. So below the shape, which is our adorable face right here, you have these two animations attached to it. And if you don't see your animations attached, it probably means just that the bar isn't fully clicked. So just click this little arrow and make it point downward, and then you'll see all the animations. We can adjust again the length that we want this to take or whatever we want, but we can also adjust here. So here's settings as well, so you don't have to right click, but then you can also add some extra ones. So if there's another thing you want to do, like you want to make it get really big or you want it to change color, you can go ahead and do that. So I might hit color and put that in between. So I'm going to have my effect change color here, and I'm going to change that color to, let's do blue and green just to change it up. Okay. So now let's hit play. Let's see if I did that right. Oh, did I just set it for the whole animation? Okay, I didn't. So let's see if I can fix that. Let me go here, animation settings, color. I'm just hitting Command Z, which is undo. It's a helpful little jump too. Okay. Okay, so next I think an important feature to show you guys is going to be going over into the studio. So we've talked about this top bar here. I mean, obviously this is just zooming in, doing all of that good stuff. This hand helps you like adjust where you are if your visual isn't quite what you want it to be. This is going to let you select actual elements on the screen. This is the shapes that we went over. Let's add a couple more just for funsies. And so this button down here centers it, which is cool. But you guys also know that it happens over here too if you just hit these two buttons. But this is just kind of a quick, easy button. Another option is fit to canvas, which makes the height and the same size as the canvas. And then if you have expand, that's going to make the height and the width hit all the way to the edges of the canvas. So I like this. I'm going to do that. But I want my face to be above this animation right here. So what I'm actually going to do is right down here, I'm going to look at the shapes. So I know this shape down here is my smiley face because it has its animations, but I can click it just to be sure. And yeah, it is. So all I'm going to do, it's super simple. I'm just going to drag it above. So let's do that. And look, it's above the animation piece now. So let's center this and let's hit play and see what happens. Okay, cool. So that's how you layer different objects. It's literally as simple as just grabbing the little arrow over here and just choosing where you want it to go, what layer. In more complicated animations, you're going to end up having a bunch of these and you're going to be able to scroll down through your list because for every single text or picture or video clip or motion, you're going to have a new one. Okay, so now I'm going to, you know what, actually I want to talk to you guys a little bit about settings, just a little bit more. So I'm going to scoot this back to the beginning, maybe in the middle here. So settings, this button right here. You have your background color, your project name, your resolution, and then you have advanced settings. I talk in one of my videos about the autosave feature. I think that this is so helpful and valuable. I like to choose to set my autosave to every 2 minutes, just in case I lose internet connection or my computer dies or something along those lines, then I haven't lost all the work that I've put in. So another thing you want to do is switch your canvas color from dark to light. I find this to be really helpful because a lot of the times I'm actually making projects with a black background and it gets really confusing when I can't see the actual lines of the screen and what's getting cut off and what isn't, and I've actually made some big mistakes with that. So this just saves you time. These two features I think are absolutely essential. If you want to be doing this efficiently and fast, it's your two best options. So I'm just going to hit save. Okay, so now let's go over here to the studio. And over in the studio, we have a bunch of different options. I'm actually going to delete, I think, the stuff I have on my screen right now, just because it's not going to be necessary for the next part of this video. So I think I'll just kind of clear all of this stuff up. And so in order to delete something, you're going to just right click it and hit delete. And then over here, right click and delete. You also have the duplicate option. That's helpful. Create a group. That means that if you click and drag this item, whatever you group it with is going to move with it. So that's helpful if you have text that you want to stay together or animations with text that you want to stay in all together in one spot. It just kind of makes things easier, especially when you're making longer, more complicated videos. So I'm just going to go through delete and delete. Okay, all we have is our background. I'm going to change it up to pink just for fun. Go over here. That's not super pink, but you know what? It's fine. Let's go over here. Okay, so we have our pink screen. Let's look at some of these studio options. So the studio essentially are pre-made animations and templates that have been created for you by the CREATESTUDIO team. These are all vector, which means that no matter how big you make them, they're going to have really great pixelation. You're not going to see any fading or any loss of quality in the images or the video, no matter how big you make it. So that's always good to know. Let's look at titles. Let's start with the title. So this one's kind of cool. So let's do this. We're going to create a little interview for an animation character. So over here in this right-hand corner, you're going to see the download button. So if you go ahead and hit that, we're going to hit download, and it's downloading it from the internet. It automatically does that for you in the program. You don't have to import anything, and they're constantly going to be adding new content in. Right now, the Create Studio team told me that this demo is very limited, but every single day they're adding in hundreds of new templates. So you can rest assured knowing that by the time May 12th happens and you can actually purchase this and the product is available to the public, you're going to have hundreds of more options in here. So let's click this, and I've already downloaded it, so I'm going to drag it on over here. So let's look at it. Cool. So your name. So we want to adjust this a little bit. So we're going to click the text. And in this text, we have your name. I'm going to put, let's see, John Smith. Okay. And I want to add an animated character waving behind that. So we have the John Smith, we have the different colored rectangles moving in and out. Let's move this back to the beginning. And I think I want to put him maybe somewhere like right here in his hand waving. So we're going to go back into the studio. We can hit home, and then just go over to characters. And you have different options for characters. The 3D ones look really cool in my opinion. I really like how these came out. Let's look at Paul. Oh, I have to download him. And these downloads are pretty quick. I mean, you saw that last one took just a second. This one's taking a little bit longer. So come on. Come on, Paul. There we go. So now I'm just going to drag Paul onto the screen. We have Paul walking right now. I don't want him to be walking and with his head turned like that. So here's Paul. His actions and animations are listed down here. Under his actions, he has headphones. I am not crazy about that. Here's him waving. Let's look at this. Okay. So that's Paul waving. It's not super exciting. Maybe if we make him a little bit bigger. So all I'm going to do is click on these little dots right here and adjust the size. I'm going to put him over here like this. I'm also going to cut him off a little bit, and I want him to go behind this John Smith title down here. So we talked about this already in the video, but all I need to do is hit the arrow and drag it below that stuff. Boom. And now he's below it. Let's play and see what this looks like. There we go. So we got John Smith waving at us. Let's look at some other characters we can add into this. I'm going to take Paul. Sorry, Paul, but I'm going to delete him. And so now we don't have Paul in this anymore. So now let's look at some other ones. Let's look at Elegant. Oh, I like this dog. I also like this chick's hair. We're actually going to go with Molly because Molly's hair is pretty awesome. So I'm going to download this. Come on, Molly. She was a lot quicker than Paul. I'm going to just click and drag this on over, and boom, we got Molly. Her hair doesn't show up as much as I want it to in this background, so I'm going to change the background over to, let's see. What looks good for her? Maybe something like this. Okay, let's play that and see how that looks. You know what, and I can already see a problem, which is that Molly starts after. See how these two boxes are ahead of these? This is your timeline. So anything that's in front of another object, so because this is in front of these objects, it's going to happen after. So later in the timeline, right? So what we need to do to fix that is just click it and literally just drag it. It's that easy. So now I'm going to rewatch this. Let's see how she looks. Cool. I'm happy with that. But I learned from Paul that I'm going to need to put Molly here below the title and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I just clicked and dragged. Okay, and she has an idea. That's her action that she does in this. I'm not crazy about that. I think that she probably has some cooler actions that I can play with. So I'm going to go ahead and click this action idea. And listening to music. Riding a scooter. That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, I like that. Selfie, that's pretty basic. Skateboarding. Walking with a coffee. Okay, you know what? This is my vibe. So we're gonna go with this. I'm gonna make this a lot bigger because I want you to be able to see her in detail, see her crop top and everything. And do that. Cool. So now let's take a look at what she looks like walking with coffee. Boom. Okay, her name cannot be John Smith. So I'm going to go into that and edit it. I'm just clicking John Smith right here, and I'm going to have it say, let's see, what should we call her? Pink hair, don't care. There we go. Okay. Oh, that changed the title, so that's good to know. So when you update the text here, this originally said John Smith to match what I had typed into the text field, but it didn't update my text field when I updated this. So that's helpful to know because that means you can name these if you have text that looks similar or names multiple times so that you know where they are in the timeline and you don't get them confused. So I actually like that feature. I was trying to do a shortcut, but I'm just going to go ahead and click this element right here, and I'm going to just adjust it on the screen. So I'm going to call her Pink Hair Don't Care. I'm also going to move this over a little bit because it seems, ooh, let's see if that is centered. That looks like it's off. Yeah, so I'm going to move this over a little bit. I'm just going to select it again and literally just drag it. You can make it smaller, bigger, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to make it fit in here so it looks right. Let's test that out. Pink hair don't care. There we go. Now let's say you are a coffee company and you're going to go ahead and want to add your logo on top of this. So what we're going to do is go over to media. I don't have it uploaded in here right now, so I'm going to go ahead and do that just by hitting plus. This is the import media button. And I'm going to pick, I don't have any logos in here. Let's look at Create Studio. Let's just use the SEMrush logo for fun. So we're going to open this up. Now we have the SEMrush logo right here, ready to go. I'm going to click that, make sure it's what I want, and then just drag it into my scene. I'm going to move it here. And maybe I'll make it a little see-through like that so it fits more into the screen. And see how it automatically put it ahead in the timeline of all these other elements? I want it to be on screen with everything else, so I'm just going to move it on over to here. And let's take a look at what that looks like. Boom, that's great. So next, just to mess with this even more, I'm going to go ahead and add a cool background, some scenery to this. So back in Studio, I'm going to get out of the character section. She's going to be drinking her coffee. Let's hit home. Let's see, maybe no, you don't drink coffee on the beach. We will have her at a coffee shop. This seems right. So let's go ahead and download this. Again, you just click that little button on the right top corner. and it's downloaded. So I'm just going to click and drag. And so now I'm starting to have a bunch of elements, right? And you can't see them all here. So I'm scrolling down a little bit. I'm doing it with my touchpad, but you can do it with this bar over here as well. And here's the background. I don't want it that low because that means, oh no, actually I do, because I'm gonna want it in the background of all the other elements. And if it was above them, then Molly or the little thing that says pink hair don't care wouldn't be visible. So I'm gonna keep this down. Keep this down here below Molly. Come on, there we go. Okay, so let's take a look and see if this is what I want. I already can tell that it's not happening while she's walking with her coffee. So I'm gonna move this over here. So and I'm also gonna shorten it. And the way to shorten it, here, let's play this first. Okay. Cool. So now we have our whole sequence and she has a background. It looks a little busy. She doesn't really seem to fit in it. So I'm going to adjust Molly a little bit. So let's click on Molly right here. And I'm going to bring this back into the scene so we can see her. Okay. So here's Molly. So for me, I'm feeling like she actually does need to be smaller, unfortunately. Oops. Did not mean to mess with that one. Go back over to Molly. So she's as big as a coffee shop. No big deal, but see here, she's too tiny. So you know what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to make the coffee shop scene bigger so that, or smaller, excuse me, so that she looks like she's walking in the foreground instead. That'll make this look a little bit better. So just have her over here. Like this. And it's going to look like she's walking in front of this stuff. I'm even going to add an element. Let's pick something like this will work for me. I'm going to choose this. I'm going to add a little bit lighter of a color than what's going on in this scene, and I'm going to just blow this up, make it nice and big. Put it here, make it a little bit bigger. You guys will be able to tell what I'm doing here in a second. I'm also going to rotate it just so it fits what I want it to a little bit more. Okay, this is in the front. I don't want it to be in the front. I'm going to go over here to my element, my shape, and I'm going to move it down. I'm going to put it in between Molly and the background. Boom, just like that. Let me just move it a little bit more now that I can see where it's at. So I'm going to click on my shape, and I'm just adding a little bit of depth so it looks like she's walking like on the ground in front of the place. So let's take a look at that. Oh, and I need to move the shape over to match with her. Okay, let's take a peek. Okay, great. So she's walking with coffee, but there's something going on here where she's just walking and staying still. So what we need to do is we need to add a motion here where while she's walking, she's coming across the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that. So let's go to Molly, click her again. She's walking with her coffee. We want to add an animation. I think I'm going to delete that. I don't know what I just did there. So what I want to do is do this over here because I selected her as the element so it knows that's what I'm editing. So her in motion. When she's coming in, she's just going to slide to the right. So let's see how that looks. We're going to make this the whole size of her walking with the coffee action so that it looks like the whole time she's walking, she's also moving. Let's see if I did this right. Go ahead and play. And boom, we have her moving. Oh, now she's stuck in place right there. So what I need to do, slide right. I need to make this area a little bit bigger for her. So remember, X is going to be your width and Y is going to be your height. So I want her to start, let's see what this looks like. We're going to reverse it. Now she's walking backward with her coffee, which is kind of funny. I'm actually into that. I might leave that as is, but just to show you guys how I did that again, I right-clicked, I went into animation settings, and then I changed from starting at negative to starting at a positive. Let's do this all the way negative. Let's make her look right and proper. Here we go. Okay. So now what I want to do, or I can let you guys know what I did right there, was under the walking with coffee and the slide right, I selected the slide right, and over here you see scale, rotation. If you want her to spin while she's walking, we can have her do a loop. But what I did was I increased the x-axis, which increased how the distance in which she moved. So I brought that to 1,000. Can we bring it over 1,000? We can bring it to 2,000 even. So let's bring it to 2,000 and see what happens. Hit play. Oh, and she's walking fast across the screen. She definitely had coffee. So I'm going to maybe drop that down to 1,500. Boom. Now let's bring this back and hit play. Okay, cool. So I think those are the main elements you guys really need to know. Of course, I highly recommend before you start your projects to play with these features. We didn't really talk about what comes after this, and we can do that. So maybe I'll go over that right now. Let's back this up to the beginning and watch it as a whole. So we have our pink hair, don't care. We got our logo. This could be the coffee company or whatever. This is just my SEO program I work with. So you can ignore that. And the background's still going on. I don't want it to happen for that long. So let's see if I can adjust that. Or did I make everything to the same place? Okay, so I am going to bring this back to, let's see what happens here. Trying to see when she leaves the screen. Okay. I'm basically just adjusting these so they all have a finishing point that's the same. I'm just going to make this clean for myself, but you don't have to do this. This is really unnecessary. This is just my OCD coming out. Okay. So here we have our video, features end, and now we're just in a background, right? So what I'm going to do now is do a transition. And let's do an FX transition. I like these explosions. These look pretty cool. If you want to see what that looks like real quick. Starting this from the beginning. Now, I didn't center this or fit it to screen, so it's not in the right place right now. So let me actually go ahead and do that. Center it. We're going to fit to maybe expand it all the way. I'm going to delete this really quick. Okay. Let's make you center. Let's fit you to canvas. Let's hit play. Boom. That's the kind of explosion we want. So she's going into an explosion into the coffee shop, that might not make too much sense. So maybe what we do is, let's delete this element. Maybe we do a heart, and then what we do is we show her bumping into a guy with a dog. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this heart transition, we're going to pull it over here, and again we're going to center it, we're going to fit to canvas, we're going to hit play just to see what it's all about. Pink hair don't care is walking by her coffee shop. And so for this heart animation, what it looks like is, I don't actually have anything else going on over here, so let me add maybe some text too. Okay, so that's what that animation looks like. We can slow it down, speed it up, make it look bigger or last longer, whatever we want to do. We can change the color of it, but for now what I would like to do is just put in here until one day ... and I'm gonna center this. Let's see how that looks within the heart. And let's also make this text look a little different. So over here, when you're in a text box, you have, you know, these options of how you want it to be laid out on the page. So centered. You also can hit the font and choose between some popular fonts until when this is kind of cute. I like this. We'll just stick with this automatically, but I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Put it more in this. I'll just hit the center button. That's not really gonna fit. Let's maybe rotate it. Let's see what that looks like. And I want to change this background color because that looks kind of pukey. It doesn't really make sense for what we want to do over here. So let's make it a nicer red, like that. Okay. Until one day. So we can make this animation longer if we want to, but what I think I want to do is do that heart and then make the text go away, or until one day, and then we stop it. We're gonna add a motion in here. So we're making the text nice and long, so it's gonna last longer than that whole heartsy phase. And what I want to do is add an animation. So underneath until one day, animations, go into add. And then we're going to change the position. Okay. Center this. I don't want to expand it that big. Okay. Center. So right now it's going over here. And I want it to go somewhere else. So the way I'm going to do that so I'm changing the position and I'm going up to here. Okay, now this is going to go away. Okay. And then we're going to put where that change happens, we're going to put her walking into this guy. So now let's add some more people from the studio. We're going to go to home, to characters. Let's go to our elegant. So we have Molly. Molly is going to come on screen here. And we also are going to have Sully, because Sully has a dog, and I think that's going to be perfect for this scene. So let's go over and bring Sully here as well. I don't want him driving a car. I know this looks all complicated and funky. We'll clean this up right now. So this is Sully under his actions from driving a car. We're going to change it to patting a dog because that is adorable. Put him right here. And then we're going to go over to Molly and we're going to move her over to here. And we're going to add an action for her because right now her action is idea. So I want to change that to waving. Okay. Now I also want this to happen at the same time as my text comes up. So I'm going to bring my text above this stuff, above Sully and Molly right here. And I'm also going to make sure that their animations line up with that text change. So let's make this a little bit bigger. We're going to expand this menu. So this is when that change happens, right? Where the text goes from over here to down here. So I want that to happen right in here. And like that. Okay, let's watch this whole scene and see if we did this right. So pink hair, don't care. She walks across the screen. She has her coffee. And then we're going until one day. And now she has her boyfriend Sully and his dog too. So that's just a quick overview of how you add characters in, you play with the transitions. There's icons on here which are really cool, like this clock. I like showing this one just because this can be used for so many things, like hurry, time's running out, use this promo code before the sale ends. So you could do this and you can have it going, and you can make it go even faster too. Sorry, let's skip all of this stuff. I just want to show you the clock. So the clock moves super fast, or you can make it go slow, so you can adjust all of that kind of stuff. But what I like about this is universal. I mean, whether it's a sale or a promotion or a new website or something that's running out of time or isn't going to be available forever, this you can just use across the board, and it's free. It's included with the program. There's some other ones like Fire, Google, Instagram, all sorts of cool icons here. Another thing is there's emojis. Emojis are fun. Here's a heart face. Let's try this one on over. This one's a 3D emoji. That's cute. But there's also regular emojis. So the modern ones, you know, the flying money, of course. Then there's classics. I've never seen this one. Yeah. Let's see. There's shapes, devices, basically just like a different type of screen can like play a certain video or show a photo for you. If you want to tell people, hey, check out my new website, and you can have somebody scrolling through your website page, then this would be a really perfect promotion type. Socials, there's YouTube, elements for Facebook, Twitter. Let's see, there's scenes pre-built, which are pretty awesome. There's hands bringing a logo, swiping on an iPad screen, and again, they're adding hundreds of new templates all the time to this program. So this guy's kicking a ball. Showed you the titles already. Yeah, I think that's going to be it for this tutorial. Check back on my channel for more how-tos and longer guides coming up soon. Thanks. Bye.